What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to JellyGoonTV. Welcome back to all my beautiful people on YouTube, and welcome back to my beautiful subscribers. Today we have a very special video, but before we go to that, I want to promote my music channel like I always do. So basically what I want you to go check out is this channel right here, AnxiousRapTv. I have 2 songs on that channel, and it's a beautiful and fake rappers. So go on and check them out if you really want to, listen to some good music and just want to support me. But anyway, today we have a very special videos. Now, this is kind of interesting because this is 10 most likely future wars. Now, I think it was made a while ago, so I wonder if Iran is in there. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this video and see what the most likely future wars are. So let's go. Let's go.
10 most likely future wars. Number 10. US versus Iran. When Obama signed the Iran nuclear deal in 2016, his hope was that it would delay the country's development of nuclear weapons and reduce the friction between the US and Iranian leaderships. However, tensions have risen once again, following Iran's continued testing of ballistic missiles. The US's fear is that these missiles are intended as vehicles for nuclear weapons that would be likely turned on Israel. If the Trump administration became concerned that Iran was on the brink of developing nuclear capabilities, it could launch a preemptive strike against the Middle Eastern nation. At first glance, it's easy to assume America's army would be able to waltz in and topple over Iran's Ayatollah with ease. After all, the US military has 3 times the manpower, 30 times the armored fighting vehicles, and 28 times the fighter jets that Iran has. While the US would win any pitched battles, Iran's countless hidden mountain bases would force American soldiers into years of bloody guerrilla war. Number 9. India versus Pakistan. India and Pakistan have only been 2 separate
Let me just pause here. I want to know one thing. India does have a big military, right? It's a huge-ass country with a lot of people. Doesn't it have a big-ass military? I just want to know. Please let me know down in the comments down below. Let's go.
Since 1947. Yet, in that time, they fought over 4 wars against each other. Many of these clashes have been over Kashmir, the region, not the fabric. And while the most recent war, which took place in 1999, only led to the deaths of around 1,000 soldiers, any future ones are likely to be far more deadly. That's because both India and Pakistan are nuclear-armed nations. India has 110 nukes, while Pakistan has 130. In a full-fledged nuclear confrontation, both countries would be wiped off the map. Not only that, but the radiation would spread across Asia, leading to crop failure serious to cause a global famine. It's no exaggeration to say that billions would die. Even if the 2 sides did decide to hold their nukes back, a clash between Pakistan's 643,000 soldiers and India's 1.4 million would be devastating to both sides. Number 8. Mexican Civil War. On the 26th of September 2017, 43 students from Ayotzinapa College were kidnapped and almost certainly murdered by the local Guerreros Unidos drug cartel. At first, this seemed like another chapter in Mexico's ongoing drug wars that have taken over 200,000 lives in the decade since 2006, and risen Mexico's murder rate to a 20-year high. But it turned into a major political scandal when Guerreros Unidos gang members confessed they'd orchestrated the kidnapping at the order of the local mayor. It's believed the mayor wanted to wipe out any opposition, and the missing students were all known critics of his. This event confirmed many Mexicans' worst fears, that the government is just too corrupt to deal with the cartels. Add to this dissatisfaction a rampant growth in inflation and poverty, and it's not surprising President Enrique NATO has approval levels as low as 22%. Or that mass protests against the government have been increasingly violent, with over 400 arrests just in the last couple of months. If the country dissolved into civil war between anti-government forces, the Mexican army, and the cartels, it's anyone's guess who would win. Number 6.
Let me just pause here, man. Did you hear about the Mexican cartel making all that noise in Mexico? That is the most fucked up thing I ever seen in my life. Now, these guys are supposed to be professional. They're not even professional. They don't even follow the code line of, honor. Not to call them pussies, not to call them cowards. That's too disrespectful. I'm just saying, they need to man up and stop kidnapping civilians, start to get orders to their soldiers, and start to organize more. Because this is a shit show down there. It's an embarrassing for organized crime. It's an embarrassing. But embarrassment, sorry. But no disrespect to anybody. I'm just saying, it needs to be much more private instead of standing on a fucking Instagram taking selfies with guns and all these things. It's just crazy to see. It really is. It is crazy to see. So, I really hope they get their shit together and just, do business as normal, That could be nice. But, anyway, let's get into it.
11. Russia versus China.
Uh-oh.
Vast, empty, and very...
Everybody
very
almost been to
It's
war
hard to
with
believe that
China.
anyone would want to live in Siberia, but in reality, the region is highly contested and may soon be the cause of war between Russia and China. You see, Siberia may make up only 2/3 of Russia's landmass, but it's only a relatively recent addition to the country. Up until the 1860 Convention of Peking, much of Siberia belonged to China, and now they want it back. China has been buying up huge tracts of the mineral-rich region, sparking concerns at the Kremlin that the Asian nation wants to undermine Russian influence in the area.
Yikes.
Experts believe China may start issuing passports to anyone who wants citizenship, populating Siberia with its own people. Any real or perceived violence against these people would give China's leadership a justification to send in the army, under the auspices of protecting its citizens. If China did use its military to force a massive land grab, Russia's comparatively weak army would be unable to stop them. The only way Russia could win the war would to be unleash its 7,000 missile nuclear arsenal, obliterating China and killing
That's
billions.
kind of overreacting, but yeah.
Number 6. Egypt
Russia
versus
actually do
Ethiopia.
have some weapons, but
From the ages
China
of
does
pharaohs
too.
right up until the present day, Egypt has always been heavily dependent on the Nile, so it's not surprising that they're considering war against a country threatening to dam it. Lake Tana in Ethiopia is one of the Nile's 2 sources, and the country has been taking steps to make the most out of its outgoing water supply. Starting in 2011, Ethiopia started construction on the impressively named Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. When finished, the 1.8 kilometer long and 150 meter tall dam will power most of the country and allow the Ethiopian people to take the lion's share of the river's water. That's great for Ethiopia, but not for Egypt. The North African nation fears the dam would steal much of their primary water supply. In fact, when the dam was first announced in 2010, Egypt's government openly discussed bombing it. Ethiopia considers an Egyptian airstrike on the dam so likely that it has surrounded the facility with anti-aircraft batteries. Moreover, the Ethiopian military has been on high alert and ready to retaliate since May 2017. And the dam's only 60% complete. Number 5. Venezuelan Revolution. With people stealing zoo animals for food, a currency worth less than World of Warcraft gold, and a president forbidding from visiting the US, it's safe to say things aren't going too well in Venezuela. But it might surprise you just how close to civil war the country really is. In April 2017, President Nicolas Maduro stripped Congress of its authority and gave himself more power. The move towards dictatorship immediately caused protests in the streets.
Of course.
And Maduro was forced to reverse the decision only days later. The protests didn't stop though, and at least 125 people have died from clashes with the police. In June 2017, a group of protesters stole a police helicopter and flew it over the Supreme Court,
Seriously?
dropping grenades from up high.
That's
Although no one
messed
died,
up.
it was a sudden and massive escalation in the severity of the violence seen between
That's
the two sides.
messed up.
If
A
the
dog
revolt
is
does
just like, what
unseat
the hell's
Maduro,
going on here?
That won't be the end of it. The president said in a speech in June 2017 that if he were booted out of office, he and his loyalists would take up arms and fight their way back in. That would mean a long and deadly civil war that would likely last years and kill thousands. Number 4. Iran versus Saudi Arabia.
Why?
The Cold War in the West may be over, but for decades, Saudi Arabia and Iran have been waging a Cold War of their own in the Middle East. It all started in 1979, when the Iranian people toppled their monarchy and replaced it with a dictatorship. The new Ayatollah encouraged Shiite Muslims around the world to rise up and overthrow their enemies. That didn't go over too well with the Wahhabi Muslims running Saudi Arabia, and the two countries have been taking potshots at each other ever since. Many of the most dramatic events in recent Middle Eastern history, like the collapse of the Lebanon, the Arab Spring, and the rise of ISIS, have been partly orchestrated by either Iran or Saudi Arabia in order to weaken their greater enemy. And the two nations are currently fighting numerous proxy wars against each other, backing different sides in Syria, Yemen, and Iraq. With the two nations growing more powerful and more opposed to each other day by day, a one-on-one clash seems inevitable. Any dramatic changes in the region, like the Saudi-allied US finally pulling its troops out, could create a power vacuum and force the two sides into direct conflict.
Oh,
Number
that
3.
reminds me of a
North
mission
Korea
like Call of
versus
Duty.
USA. You knew this one had to be on the list somewhere. With Trump threatening devastating military attacks and Kim Jong-un lobbing missiles over Japan,
This is actually
war between
very
America
new.
and North Korea seems to be getting closer all
I
the
thought it
time.
was old.
In
I don't
fact,
know why.
according to North Korea, the two are already at war. The Asian dictatorship reacted to a recent Trump's tweet by
Ain't
saying it was
nobody
a
at
declaration
war
of
with
war,
Twitter.
a claim the White House
Stop.
dismissed. Declaration or not, North Korea has moved
Let
more
me pause here. Wait, hold 1 second. Everybody afraid of everything. In this world today, we afraid of everything. Fucking coronavirus, fucking war with North Korea. Because of who? Because of the media. The media is overreacting about every single fucking thing. Everything. If it stood to the media, we're gonna die tomorrow. And you suckers are eating it up. It's false advertisement and they live by pushing the negative narrative in your fucking face. That's what they live on. If it stood to the media, you're gonna die tomorrow. Because everything is frightened, everything is scary. Oh my god, everything is so scary. It's messed up. It's a joke. Calm the fuck down. Relax. Start living your life. Don't listen to these fucking Facebook media and all this stupid stuff. People are so fucking stupid. They can't think for themselves. Man, let's go.
The aircraft guns.
Ain't no wall breaking out. Too much
where
money.
American and South Korean jets are currently performing military.
Too many corrupt
Kim Jong-un
police
has also claimed that he has the right to shoot down enemy
money,
fighters,
man.
even if they don't enter North Korean airspace. If North Korea starts the war, the combined forces of the US, South Korea, and Japan would definitely defeat North Korea. But if the US were the aggressor, they would likely bring China in and escalate the war dramatically.
Ain't no war gonna happen.
Without Chinese aid, North Korea's army of over 1 million soldiers and 8,600 well-defended artillery bases would make any attempt to topple it extremely bloody. And that's even if they don't have a nuke ready to drop on Seoul or Tokyo. Number 2. Russia versus NATO. In September 2017, journalists and senior NATO staff collectively freaked out at Russia's plan to perform military exercises along the eastern edge of its empire. Terrified experts claimed that this was a disguised attempt to annex Belarus, and that the war games would involve a whopping 100,000 soldiers. In reality, Putin's military exercise only involved about 17,000 men, all of whom left Belarus without even the slightest bit of annexing. Still, NATO's fear was understandable. After all, in 2014, Russia shocked the world by marching its army into Ukraine and taking Crimea. It was concrete proof that Putin was willing to flout NATO's rules. Now, it's no secret that Putin wants to keep expanding Russia's borders, and many suspect his next target will be the Baltic states. And since the three Baltic nations, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, are NATO members, an invasion would make war near unavoidable. Could the combined powers of NATO contain the highly organized and well-armed Russian army? Probably eventually, but NATO's mere 5,000 troops on the Russian border would be annihilated before backup arrived. And number 1, South China Sea War.
What?
Home to 10% of the world's fisheries and enough oil to fill 11 billion barrels, the South China Sea has one of the most valuable areas in the world, and China wants as much of it as possible.
Of course.
The United Nations forbids any country from extracting resources more than 200 nautical miles from their land. But China has found a cunning, if controversial, workaround. From 2014, the country has been artificially building islands off the bottom of its coast. These man-made land masses extend China's territory, bringing more oil and fish within their control. Oh, and just to show they aren't messing around, China has stocked the islands with jets, bombers, and soldiers. This expansionist policy is in direct opposition to other countries in the region, and could allow China to make claim on their resources. And if a US ally like the Philippines retaliated militarily to China's expansion, the US may be compelled to help them. That would mean the US and China fighting each other for the first time. So that was the 10 most likely future wars. Which clash do you think is about to break out? Did we leave any brewing conflicts off the list? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more military masterpieces... Let me pause here.
First of all, USA ain't gonna do shit with China, okay? Ain't nobody gonna do anything to China. Because you know why? China got you by the fucking balls, that's why. China, every single toy, clothes, everything comes out of China. Everything. 90% of all the world's economy, stuff, anything. Companies, everything comes out of China. You really think you want to fuck with China because of that? You know how fucking expensive clothes is gonna get? You know how expensive everything is gonna get, right? Because it's gonna take time for people to evolve that shit. Business is gonna close down because it's too expensive, because Western people don't want to sell it too cheap. People don't want to work at that rate. People don't want to work at that money that Chinese people are working at. So these big ass companies and the 1% is going to have a huge ass problem. Think for a moment something like that would happen. Ever. Look, presidents are puppets. There is nothing. The president doesn't even control whatever. But there's some big guys sitting on the top making sure damn right that Trump ain't overstepping his goddamn boundaries. Trust me on that one. Trump is a psychopath and a manipulative little cow. But he's not gonna overstep that line, trust me. There are some big guys up there, trust me, that sits on the fucking power. Trust me on that one. Ain't no war gonna happen and you have nothing to fear. There's too much money in the world to be made. That's why. China makes a lot of money of us. That's why. Why in the fuck would you go to war with us? That's the most dumbest thing I ever seen in my life. But yeah. Anyway, guys, that was a beautiful video. Sorry for my rant. But I just wanted to say that people, they get afraid of everything every single fucking day. And it's the most retarded shit I ever seen. For example, the coronavirus. Go check the facts on that shit. More people die of normal influenza than fucking coronavirus. That's why. There's a higher % chance of dying of influenza than there is of coronavirus. That's why. But it is what it is. Do whatever you want. Bitch down in the comments. Tell me that I'm wrong. Do what you always do because you live in your mama's basement and you have no political view. That's why. So you need to discuss with me. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do respect it. Thank you so much to my subscribers. I hope you understand that my political rant is like this because people sometimes are fucking retarded and they stupid. That's why. But anyway, guys and girls, if you like this video, please hit the like button down below. And if you want to support this, we almost at 1,000 subscribers. Please do subscribe and hit that notification bell. It will be massively appreciated. Also, so you're updated on the new videos. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna move on into the next one. Peace.